Questlove, Mr. Amir, here in Austin. Proud to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me here. Thank you.
Really cool to have you here.
Thanks.
Want to know who you are, number one, who your influences are as far as drumming, who inspired you to drum, who inspired you to do what you're doing today?
I got Tony Williams, Steve Haroon from the Average White Band.
Right on.
Clyde Stubblefield played with James Brown.
Right on, yep.
Stuart Copeland, you know, pretty much everybody tried to play Tom Sawyer when I was in high school, so, you know, I'm up on Neil Peart, you know, so.
Neil Peart's amazing drummer.
John Bonham, everybody.
What inspired you to go into music and keep going to what you're doing today?
Poverty. No. I don't know. What inspires me is I think everyone should have a job that they're willing to wake up 3 a.m. in the morning for and willing to put 20 plus hours into. And, you know, I'm fortunate. I'm not saying this is going to be my job for life, but I'm definitely fortunate enough to have this reality I got right now, and I don't take it for granted, you know. So, you know, that's what inspires me. Just the fact that I know that many wish to be in the position that I'm in, that I'm occupying at the moment. You know what I mean? And
it's a good movement that's going on nowadays. There's a lot of everybody that's in the music industry and the fans are really starting to adapt and be musically inclined to what they used to be in like the 80s and the early 90s. Everybody appreciates music for what it's worth now.
Well, I never personally felt that music died. I just think that as time goes on, there are just more, as time goes on, people find quicker methods on how to cash in quicker. Mm-hmm. But pretty much, you know, the 3-minute pop song, one hit wonder thing has been here since the 50s. And as with any genre of music, you know, there's the zirconias and then there's the genuine article. Mm-hmm. You know, and pretty much, you know, you just have to be a needle in a haystack and just burn the haystack to find the needle sometimes. And that's how I view our role. I mean, I'm just a person that searches for new music, and there's still music, undiscovered music from different genres that people have yet to discover. I mean, a great example is Shuggie Otis. The fact that his gem of an album was like my best kept secret for all of my life. For damn near, I've been listening to that record since I was 6 at least. And for people to discover it now, as if it came out yesterday, is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? So.
Now, your father, he had a big influence on you. I understand he was a musician himself.
He was an oldies doo-wop singer back in the 50s.
I take that he influenced you very greatly in music.
Yeah, he was able to. He just brought me up in an environment because he was an oldies doo-wop singer from the 50s, the late 50s. By the time I was born, I grew up backstage at these oldie revival shows. So, you know, I'd be a 4-year-old at these Dick Clark productions. Like Dick Clark presents doo-wop extravaganza '73, and it'd be like Jackie Wilson, Harvey and the Moonglows, and Little Anthony and the Imperials, and my father's group was Lee Andrews and the Hearts, Don and Juan, you know, the Brooklyn Bridge, like all these famous. Practically the soundtrack to Goodfellas. That's what I grew up with. So that's where I grew up. I grew up backstage, and because my father didn't believe in babysitting, I would play percussion on stage with him.
Wow.
And
awesome.
This lasted. I eventually became my father's band leader.
Wow.
When I was 13.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah, I led his band when I was 13. You know, I took time off to go to school. Stayed with my grandmother.
And you went to a private school, am I right about that?
Yeah, I went to a performing arts school in Philadelphia. There was a Philadelphia High School for Creative and Performing Arts. There was a private and a public school version. I went to the private one from like 1st to 8th grade, and then I went to the public one my last 2 years in 11th and 12th grade. And it was at that school that I met Black Thought. He was an art major. Yeah. He was
the first person you met of the Roots. Am I right about that?
Yeah. We started the Roots together.
Okay. you and him started the Roots, and after that, who followed after that?
Well, we were a group in name only, like back in '87. You know, we do like an occasional high school show or that type of thing, but actually Philadelphia's lack of having an outlet for us to really cultivate our craft is sort of what the seed of this whole movement was about. There was no clubs, you know, it was like rock clubs.
Yeah.
You know, no room for us. Besides high schools, there was no place to do it. No poetry slams, no colleges, none of that. No such thing as a jam session. So we would just play on the streets. We go busking. Yeah. That's what the Europeans call it, busking.
Yeah, I know what that's.
So we went busking on the streets, and telling a friend of mine in school about it. His name was Josh Abrams. He was a bass player. He suggested that instead of just beatboxing or doing cans or whatever we was doing, the industrial instruments, to actually bring out the real instruments and see if we can get away with it, you know, the police and all that. And we got, you know, every Saturday of 1992, we performed for 5 hours on the streets.
Wow.
And that's how eventually, like, it was, we got to be a chameleon that way, because then clubs would be like, we don't like rap music, but, you know, you guys aren't really rap music because you guys are real musicians. So, I mean, we took it any way we can get it. Oh, you're poets or you're jazz musicians, you know, like we would just be anything to anybody. And
which you guys all have in one, which is amazing. You guys play your own instruments, which I appreciate a lot.
Thanks.
Another question I was going to ask was, how was working on the Philadelphia Experiment? I have that album. I think it's a really cool album. Maybe a lot of people don't know about it.
I'm gonna tell you the funny thing about the Philly Experiment. Philly Experiment is like, I'm gonna tell you how we birthed it. I was 2000 was just a tumultuous year. Like it was multitasking at its hectic. Like, you know, we'd started the Seeds of Phrenology. You know, I just finished the D'Angelo record. I was touring with D'Angelo.
He's an amazing musician.
Thanks.
He's great.
Working on Macy's record, working on Erica's record, working on Common's record, like a whole bunch of people.
Everything at once.
Right, and then we had started the preparation for the OK Player Tour, which was sort of like a review, not a Roots show, but a review in which it was the Roots, Talib Kweli, people from our website, Slum Village, Bahamadia, a whole slew of groups, the Jazzy Fat Nasties. Anyway, I had like 3 weeks to put the show together because the Roots was the house band for all these people.
Gotcha.
And then this project fell in my lap. And the way I orchestrated it was during rehearsals for the OK Player Tour, you know, I'd call like a bathroom break. Literally, I'd be like, all right, let's break for 5 minutes. Y'all learn these background vocals. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And then I'm running, all right, roll the tape, I'm coming. And then I'm running down the hall, and literally, V3, all right, here I am, roll it. And then we knock off one song, then I run back. When are you gonna come back? Give me 2 hours. I gotta do Kweli's arrangements. So then Chris and them would, you know, like Chris did like some of the acoustic stuff and all the stuff that he did alone, and then I run back to rehearsal. All right, let's break for a half hour, let's go to lunch. Run back, knock off 2 more songs. So literally, that album is a series of breaks that I took.
In between doing different
Yeah.
albums at the same time.
Right.
I really like the album a lot. I went out and bought it. I think it's really awesome. Everything on it smooth. You guys do a lot of, you know, you do different covers on it, which is really cool.
Thank you.
Which I liked a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think
we're probably going to do it again. I mean, Chris and I,
too.
Yeah, Chris and I talk a lot. Like right now, the whole with Rope-A-Dope, they want to do series of cities. Like right now, the Detroit Experiment's out now, but we definitely want to do either some live shows or, you know, that type of thing.
Which would be cool. I really like the way you guys are headed right now. I've always loved your music. I know you guys got Bonnaroo coming up this summer, which you guys are going to attract. I've always been a big fan of yours. You're going to get a lot of more of the
New
jam band fans that are really into you guys. Let me ask you a question. Who is some of your favorite musicians to play with or be along with on stage, if I may?
I mean, my dream group, more than anybody I've ever played with, probably my dream band is probably doing the D'Angelo tour. Like we got to pick. Like no musician on that tour was a musician in which they were a side person. Like no musician in that unit was ever like a side guy. They were a person in their own right. You know, like your horn guy was Roy Hargrove.
It was amazing. He played on Carl Denson's new album.
Yeah. Like Roy was a trumpet player. Pino Palladino, who's like a god in London, England, as far as session work is concerned. You know, James Poyser, who's just won a Grammy. This, you know, like you had major cats all on stage at the same time, and you know, it was probably the most magical time I'll ever have with musicians in my life.
I believe it. If I could end it on this note, a favorite musician of mine who I think it was incredible and had a big political movement in his time, and I know I read up on it, Black Thought, likes him a lot. Fela Kuti, if we could just end on those, and Femi Kuti, if we could just end on that note. How do you feel towards him and that music?
Like, basically, that was an extension. The project that we did with Femi was a result of us doing the Voodoo tour with D'Angelo. And at the very last date, I'll say 3 days before, Femi came down to meet with us.
Amazing.
He was really shocked. Like right about that time period, like his father's legacy really hadn't dawned on the people yet. So he was still like an inside secret to a lot of musicologists or whatever. So we just talked. We talked and I introduced him to D and Common at the same time. So we did about a week's worth of work together. And that night was magic, you know, to have Nile Rodgers there, to have the Soultronics, which was D's band, and to have Roy and to have Femi's band. Like all of us.
Amazing band.
All of us were in the room at the same time. It was like at least 20 of us playing at the same time, and that was a good ending to a sentence.
A lot of good energy too. A lot of good energy.
Indeed.
Yeah, his father's legacy. He's just amazing musician.
Right.
A lot of people don't really know about him, but once they get to know him and get to know Femi Kuti,
there's no way you can resist it ever.
I mean, the music is just, and what he stood for in his time was just amazing.
Indeed.
Well, I appreciate it a lot, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it
so much, man. You guys keep up the good work, positive vibes, much energy.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything. Have a beautiful night.
Thank you.
Stubbs, and you know, turn me up in the monitors, please. And yes, y'all. You are now rocking with the best. The legendary ROOTS from Philadelphia, PA. Austin, Texas. I don't know what you coming to. But look, go Austin, it's your birthday. We can party like it's your birthday. We can sip the party like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck, it's not your birthday. I see the South Philly struck off the brothers, let's talk numbers. How many rappers won't punish the figures again? Up in the hundreds, that's how I know you don't run it. How many stories won't from it? Too many lies, niggas lie for this shit, the bitches and games. I take the words and take the fight, this is your name. Do what I'm saying, money was used to link in the chain. What you waiting for, linking the chain? That you think you making a name. Tell me when you taking a street dog. Black dog making a pretty dog. Shout to the party, we're taking a game. Casanova the fight, so we're back taking things over. What? Feeling in the with the clicks getting closer. Fat on mics from the neighbors, I'm the hoster. Keep coming, we want it, I'm a soldier. Bring a little song to a closure. Who's taking over? The hopes is taking over. Behind us, the hopes is taking over. South Hills, the hopes is taking over. Green Fire, over now. It's not over now. The hopes is taking over. What about the hopes is taking over? What about the hopes is taking over? It's all over now. It's all over. When you clap your hands to clap. If I ask you, you feeling better, answer back. See me real a big boy, Burgundy Cadillac. Cold vomit in the water with your girl on my lap. Couple rappers only like me, I ain't concerned. But I'm more concerned about what my kids learn. And I'm more concerned with the pain that I earn in the background. And I'm in the way that I'm learning. I'm stuck through the continent in 72. So my mama said the planet ain't ready to do. Everybody gotta do what you ready to do. Maintain all of the shots for the video. Focus on what you gotta pursue. Say she rest in peace. Cassie, I'm taking over for you. Send it round, not in the bars. Try to run back. Say the streets with it. Check it out though, yeah. Everybody wanna be a soldier. Dog and Ojo, man. Take credit. The realness of soldier. I am told be the microphone holder. You don't know, son, I gotta show you. So who's taking over? The ropes is taking over. Welcome off the ropes is taking over. Welcome off the ropes is taking over. It's all over here. It's all over here. Awesome. The ropes is taking over. Body lock the ropes is taking over. Body lock the ropes is taking over. You know we don't go over. That's the first thing over now. We come to get involved with it. It's not a game. Legendary ROOTS from Philly once again, yeah. We will rock you, we will rock you, we will rock you, we come to rock you, come on, rock you, come on, rock you, rock you, rock you, rock you. And you know that was last days, when I'm about to stage, I'm trying to get your brothers in the real strong place. Little lads out of breaks and crews, with 20 gang breaks and crews, with 70 crews. I've been through the make the news and I've been killing this shit, killing the trick, fucking off the Phillips and spit. One of people's out the bar wire, doing them things like the Samson. I'm a killer still in the sense. Bars is kind of big, ain't I say that your minds and blast that weak shit. The people with particles and fragments, who having this shit, I must confess. I'm like Diddy trying to sing us one and alien jet. Say so that it's black, you can tell me it's that. He's out of the new play, touch him to your belly, it's black. He's alien jet, he's like a rock, stallion spit. The ROOTS coming, you tell us ahead, come in and drop, who's good. We will rock you, 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 we will rock Come on, y'all. selling your Susan. Think of what the hell he was using. We're not the young government music. There's so many speakers, we're covering the music. The summer to whoever, we know who the truth is. You never heard of it. We're like it's fun, it's like trust. No, we're gonna want the truth. They get money, don't know, they get excuses. No, you know I'm with a horse and test is exclusive. I don't need for real shit pieces. Come on, just like you, just a show them. Cut your knocks down with flow, cut your throw on. I've been into so we ain't over here. Cut your throw like you got the beer. See the people don't want to run. You was beginning. What opportunity? Come on, take a minute. It's this far out. Achieve your goal. You gonna lose. You
Fantastic, it's the romance.
Every day I'm bringing this new anthem. But ain't unstable and I'm just too handsome. Man, we the best around. You feel this shit soon as we going on. You feel it, so this shit, your favorite song. Favorite song, it's your hands on. Going on. Showing on. It's your hands on. Put your hands up. You feel this shit soon as we going on. People, come on, it's your favorite shit. You know what it is? Hands on, hands on. It's going on. Make your hand to a kiss. Pump up with us. Do like this. Go, 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 Watch it out. shit was hot. You shit, you shit. That's how we usually start. Yo, who that? Cause all they have a problem is the thought. It's directed to whoever it. Listen to me, let's make a change in the world in the chain. Black train, to the sky, on the train. We got always red hot, stepping on ice. Yo, this shit wasted on the price of fame. Shit was all the same. Did it ever go big? Black door, nails in the wrist on the flip. This everyday rap shit, I'm blind and dry. I'm following from the sea to sunlight. I'm plugging my mind, drawn like a gunfight. When I use my phone, it's more. Shit upon it, sipping on the phone from ill silver corners. Blowing like a force, so my anomalies are larger. Ain't no way to come this time. We gotta get wet, cause it's smarter than our ancestors. Yeah, guess who the next movement? Come on! Let's go! This is not for real. It's y'all bullets. Check it out now. The foundation. And you don't stop. Keep on. Hey, it's not what you do with it. Tell it, motion is it. You listen to what you doing. Tell it, come. Say on. You know the heart, the hands. Tell them what the fuck up, man. Y'all know what they say. Get drunk, get crowd. Music, real. Music, the hot. Y'all feeling it? It's the formation of words and shit. I usually just heard of it. A lot of rappers never heard of it. But no rappers on it. You got the boots. Look at you.